Oh, good evening, my geeks and peeps, my explainers and entertainers, my little oodle-ollies. You're just in time for tea. You know, the last time we were sitting at my dining room table, we were talking about Daycare Stories, right? Well, who doesn't love a good sequel? Let's jump back to the good old days of making daycare staff miserable. If you remember that last video, you'll remember that my sister Rachel and I went to this daycare together. She was with the big kids, I was with the little kids. But the two of us had been going to this particular daycare literally from infancy. So the staff knew us. And we both had reputations. Rachel's nickname at this place was Rocky because she would start fights with older kids who were being mean. While when I was about 18 months, I would go up to other kids just learning how to walk and push them over, laughing maniacally. Listen, I got my deviltry out early. You best be thankful that I'm a good witch of the woods now. A typical day of daycare for the Parham sisters started early in the morning getting dropped off by a parent. And the experience was very different depending on which parent dropped us off. See, Rachel and I didn't like that our parents were leaving us. Frankly, we weren't that thrilled being left at daycare to begin with. But we knew to keep that sentiment to ourselves whenever Mom dropped us off. She was incredibly no-nonsense, and our tears and screams would do nothing to sway her. She'd just drop us off and sashay herself out the front door without looking back. So we learned that her heartstrings couldn't be played on. But if Dad was dropping us off... There's a game that both kids and adults play. When little kids play it, it's called dig in a random spot and hopefully find something. When adults play it, it's called Minecraft. Digging in dirt or sand to a kid, it's magical. Mostly because of the slim chance that you might actually find something. But there were two main things that we were all digging for as kids. Say it with me. Buried treasure and dinosaur bones. Which makes archaeologists and paleontologists adults that never outgrew it. I caused some major property damage at daycare once by digging. You want to hear about it? Of course you do. One day, two kids and I were playing outside in a secluded, shady part of the playground around the back of the building. A spot conveniently difficult for the adults to supervise. The three of us were happily digging away in the dirt when, gasp, we actually found something. That's the best thing about the positivity and the optimism of kids. It doesn't matter what you found while playing this game, you still felt like Indiana Jones. And the three of us were thrilled that we had unearthed the rare and elusive water pipe.
It belongs in a museum!
But the moment the three of us walked away for just a second, leaving our dig site unprotected, a random boy saw the exposed pipe in the ground, picked up a big rock, and... he took all the blame. And they had to shut down the water at the daycare for a few days to get it fixed. However, this next story, I absolutely got caught in the act, and I'm pretty sure it's one of those universal childhood experiences. 'Tis a dangerous and often hilarious thing the first time a child figures out that hair is meant to be cut, and scissors are meant for cutting. We all put two and two together real fast, eyeballing those craft scissors in our school supplies. There was only one incident I tried to cut my own hair as a kid, and it was at daycare. Of course, it happened during arts and crafts. I don't even remember what we were making, but it involved scissors, and the person who was supposed to be watching us made the fatal error of looking away for just a second. Because that was all the time I needed. I grabbed a piece of my hair, raised the scissors up, and... Rebecca! Don't you even think of... The daycare worker took me to the staff room to sit in timeout with her. A wise thing, not leaving me alone to my own devices. She sat at her desk writing down this little incident in my report card. Snitch. While I had to sit in a chair and not move. But every time another staff member walked in, this lady would say something like, "Hey, do you want to see what happens when Rebecca tries to cut her own hair?" Oh! Okay, Janet, I don't recall asking your opinion on my hairdressing skills, but if we're gonna start playing the shame game, I'm gonna let Kid Becca have the floor.
You think my hair's bad, but you paid someone money to make you look like that. If you let me do your hair, it would at least be an improvement.
I don't get paid enough for this.
And I don't get paid anything to tolerate you, but here we are.
Hello, Mrs. Parham. Yes, it's Rebecca again.
Mom, I saved you money on my next haircut.
Okay, I didn't actually say any of that. But man, I wish I was a fire-breathing roast lord back in the day. Then maybe I would have become an actual stand-up comedian instead of an animator pretending to be one. Did you hear the one about crypto? So as I've said before, Rachel was in a different group than me and we had different activities, so we didn't always get to hang out with each other. But one day, while I was innocently playing with my fellow little kids, an adult plucked me away from whatever I was doing and sat me at a table with Rachel far away from the rest of her group. It was unmistakable she had purposely been isolated from the other kids.
All right, what did you do? You haven't confessed, have you? Demand an attorney, they can't prove anything.
What actually happened was the staff had planned an activity where each kid was given a glob of peanut butter that they could sculpt into whatever they wanted. And the best part was that they would eventually get to eat their creations. The problem was, ever since childhood, Rachel has been deathly allergic to peanuts. Seriously, it's a 911 call every single time, she's that sensitive. I once opened a particularly potent jar of peanut butter, closed it after just a few seconds, and when Rachel walked through that area a minute later, her eye began to swell. So naturally, Rachel was not going to be allowed to play with the world's deadliest substance to her. Instead, they gave her some Play-Doh and made me come play with her so she wouldn't be alone. Wow, that sounds like such a wholesome sisterly moment, huh? Am I right? Right? Hey, Kid Becca, it's a wholesome sisterly moment, right?
Officer, I've never met this girl before in my life. Also, I should have peanut butter. Hey! Don't you try to drag me down with you.
Mind you, I did sit there the whole time playing with Rachel, just very angrily. But when the activity was over and Rachel was far away, they eventually gave me a little spoonful of peanut butter for my trouble. But oh my god, what an absolute brat, right? Never mind that it's a life or death situation where you could have one less sister by the end of the day. But hey, listen, I was not always inconsiderate of my sister. Sometimes I was very helpful. You all know about Smarties, right? Not the good kind, the American kind. The bishop on the chessboard of loser candy. I will hear no arguments to the alternative. Well, this daycare was no stranger to giving out this candy as the occasional treat, and one day Rachel apparently had gotten her hands on a pack of them. The two of us were in nap time together when she rolled over and whispered, Hey Becca, guess what?
What?
I got a Smartie stuck up my nose and I can't get it out. Now, as a bright young child with plenty of potential to eventually maybe one day be smart, I had a perfect plan of attack for the occasion.
I got a stick.
We all stuffed random things into our pockets as kids, and apparently I had a stick that day.
Whatever you do, don't move.
I shoved the stick up Rachel's nose to try and get the Smartie out. And as one would imagine, a stick is not the most effective nor sanitary tool for such a job. So all I really accomplished was pushing it further up her nose.
Ah! Ow! This may turn into brain surgery soon.
Just as I thought the Smartie could go no further up Rachel's nose, a daycare staff member walked by and was treated to this cheery sight. Hey, wouldn't you know it, that little extra push caused it to dislodge and fall down the back of Rachel's throat.
Well, there you go. Crisis averted.
You know, my dad used to tell people that I was smart enough to be a doctor. I think he was lying. Alright, explainers, just one more thing. There are only a couple days left to pre-order the Witch Becca doll and the new pen set. These are very limited edition items. We will not be making them again, so link to the store in the description below. Whew, alright, explainers and entertainers, I appreciate you having some late night tea with me, but I think it's time I hit the hay. Thank you so much for tuning in, but now I gotta tune out. Bye!